Hey guys, it's Max. Welcome back to the station. I really appreciate you guys being here today. I love speaking about options, and I have a great one planned out for you today. So, this is going to start a new series called How to Use Options in Retirement. Seriously, I really liked what Jay said. If you haven't watched my interview with him that I published yesterday, watch it. But at the end of that interview, in a panel, uh, the guy that owns Title Financial, who's Jay's partner in releasing a bunch of these funds, he asked Jay what was the thing he was most excited about. And Jay said, really, it's just the fact that options are finally becoming mainstream and being taken seriously, and people use them in a serious manner. Anyway, so I wanted to do a video like that with this as a theme, kind of. All right. So this is a great first world problem to have, but we all know somebody with this problem, or maybe we have it ourselves. You have $1 million 401k, and maybe you're invested all in growth. Maybe you don't believe in the 60/40. I don't know. But anyway, if you're all growth, you've done pretty well this year. Even if it's not you, it may be somebody that you know. So on $1 million, it's conceivable you could be up, $370,000 on paper. It's a lot of money. At the same time, look what's happening in our world. It's going to hell, right? I mean, if you're on Twitter or Reddit, you can see it right in front of your eyes, or Signal, or Telegram. Look at our politics. Look at our politicians. We've been captured by a ruling class of geriatric billionaires, and they won't relinquish power willingly anyway. So this election is going to be interesting. The last election was interesting. So regardless of what you think about the politics of it or whatever, it's going to be interesting, because in the market, not only do you have to be right about direction, or it helps to be right about direction, you also need to get the volatility element right. So that usually involves being right about the timing of it. Okay, so right here in futures contracts, we can see the timing of it. This is a term structure based on I was just thinking, is this screen showing? It is. It's a term structure based on the VIX contract. VIX is a volatility contract, volatility futures contract. Anyway, you can see the monthly expirations. Well, you can see there's a hump in the expiration cycle right around October. And I mean, we all know why that is. But in any event, even, in through the end of the year, it should be interesting. So I looked at this two different ways. All right, so what are our options? Okay, pun intended. Well, you have many options, actually. The easiest and most direct way is just to buy some insurance. There's an insurance market for the U.S. stock market that's open 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's called the SPX Options Pit. The fun thing is, when it comes to buying this type of insurance, you can get creative with expiration dates. There's not much strategy in buying car insurance or buying home insurance, other than just negotiating a good deal. All right. So the first difference, though, is this isn't like car insurance, in that this type of insurance is totally optional. This could be more thought of like you own a house at the beach, and maybe it's your second house, so that it being a primary shelter is not of a concern, and you own it in cash. And hurricane season's coming, and they say this is going to be the worst hurricane season on record. But the past couple of seasons, you've been fine and nothing's happened. All right. So, and also the other thing is, your house is appreciated a lot. Your house is actually on the coast, wherever, and it's gone up 30% this year on paper. Okay. That's the other thing. So, what do you do? Do you get insurance? Do you not get insurance? Yeah, it's paid for in cash, but you only paid X amount, and now it's X amount plus 30%. All right. Let's check it out, though. So the first method is just the prayer method. And the prayer method's working nice for the managers at Tesla today, but where you just basically pray that the market will take a break when it's going against you. And you keep your positions the way they are. In any event, you can take your chances. That's one option. But option two is just to hedge directly with S&P put options. All right, SPX put options in theory should appreciate as the S&P 500 drops in value. There's a little detail to it. We'll look into it. Depends exactly how you structure it, but we'll look into it. So generally, I speak of selling options as being kind of a sucker's bet, and I talk about options bleeding, and that is true, and I still believe that. For this use case, in the use case of an insurance policy, we're fine with it being a sucker's bet. We're going to allow for it. In fact, we're going to attempt to monetize the bleed, or we aren't going to really monetize the bleed. I should have said that, but we're allowing for the bleed, and if it happens, it happens, because we're looking at, we have a bigger goal in mind. Okay, so this could be considered a long volatility strategy, what I'm getting ready to show you. It's kind of similar to TRES, but that's another story altogether. All right, so this strategy, though, is designed to lose money like 85% of the time. You can pretty much kiss the money goodbye, and it's going to cost about 1.5% of your portfolio to do it. It's going to cost about $15,000, and you're going to have to come up with that in cash. You know, your portfolio's gone up, but it's gone up on paper. But if you have $15,000 cash and you're like me, and it's been a great run. It's not that I really think the market's going down, but it's been a great run. We have seasonal things coming up. I mean, there's all kinds of things that I could tell you. A guy that I really respect on CNBC, Mike Wilson, a very good analyst, was on CNBC today, and just based on a lot of stuff I've seen, you know, and I made this video yesterday before the market started dropping. So an event. All right, let's, or I didn't make the video, but I started writing the slides. All right. So you guys have read Jay's book, right? All right. It's called Buy and Hedge anyway, and it's on Amazon. It's excellent. The math of hedging is pretty interesting. So if you lose 25% on an investment, you have to make 33% to get back to even, or something like that. I think that sounds right. I didn't check my math. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get fact checked. But if you lose, God forbid, 50%, you have to make 100% or a double to get your money back. I know that one's right. All right. So the best defense is not to put yourself in the situation in the first place. We're halfway through the year, and if you're all in growth, we're up 30%. Even if you're 60-40, you're up 15%. Okay. It's been a hell of a year. And after last year too, if you were all in growth last year, I mean, or in tech last year, my gosh. So if we have to spend a couple of points on insurance, so be it. We can lock in a nice profit right now. Prices are cheap, right? I mean, you know, you can look at the VIX. VIX is pretty much the insurance, the cost of insurance. Anyway, VIX is low. It's close to record lows, not close to record highs. So it'd be cheap to insure right now. So here's the VOO. So if somebody just had that, you'd actually be up 37%. I was trying to fact check myself and see how much the market was up. If you had the VTI, you'd be up 33%. I think the SPY is up 25%. The Q's up in the 30s. No matter what you have, you're up 20-30%. If you're on a 60-40, you're up 15-20%. I mean, you know, so there, and if you have $1 million, you know, that's $200,000. A lot of people have a $2 or $3 million retirement or more. And a lot of people have a $500,000 retirement. Even on a $500,000 retirement, there's $100,000 of paper appreciation that's happened this year to your portfolio, plus $100,000+. So can you afford to go out of pocket for $15,000? Well, we'll look at the alternatives and see. All right. So how long do we need our policy? This is the first thing. If we just got it till the end of September, it would cost the 1.5 that I'm going to show you, or that was the cost last night. But to insure until the end of the year would cost 3.5%. So let's go to option strat and let's talk about this. Okay, so we're going to go full screen here. All right, so this is my favorite thing to do, as you guys know. Okay, well, so I did this last night, but all this is it doesn't even really matter what it is, but here's the spread. Here's the 5,300 strike put, which you could be thought of as the 530 strike if you were talking SPY. And here's the 5,000 strike put, which could be thought of as the 500 strike if we're talking SPY. So that's about how far we need it to drop. We need it to drop under 5,300 or under 530 for SPY points. Okay. And we're doing a spread. We're buying this one 7 times and we're selling this one 5 times. And we're getting some benefit from put skew. these deep out of the money puts are super expensive relative to these closer in the money puts. And there's some benefits of selling it in a ratio like that. But what we want to look at is if something happens right away, like if something happens next week, how much can we make? Like if the market dropped 10% or 5%, let's see our level of protection. So our protection wouldn't kick into kicks in really early. It's basically kicked in right now. But if we drop if the market dropped 5%, that means your $1 million portfolio, or actually $1.3 million portfolio, down 5%, is down 50,000, right? Plus a little bit. But anyway, this would offset 41,000 of it. So you could close this position and offset 41,000 of it. But of course, then the market could keep dropping. Okay. But so you could just keep this thing. You could keep this position also. Watch this. As time passes, here it is in the middle of August, market's down 10% at that point. This is worth 131,000. So, but your portfolio is down 100,000. This offsets 131,000 of it. If the market keeps going down, this doesn't expire until the end of September. This will offset perfectly and plus a little bit, whatever this will keep you from losing. You can't lose if you have this till September. It's impossible from the market going down. If it goes all the way down to zero, you make 1.2 million. This insures $1 million portfolio. Now, the bad thing about it is if the market goes nowhere, you're going to lose $15,000 or 1.5%. And not only that, by expiration, if the market hasn't moved 4%, you're going to lose everything. And really, by expiration, you actually need 5%. And really, to break to let me see here. To double your money, you need a 5.8% move to make what you had at risk. I mean, that's on expiration day. The thing that's so beautiful about this is you're trading this. This is going to go down probably between now and expiration day. So the other thing about this is a long volatility trade. Why is that? Because you own 5 options and you've only sold, you own 7 options. You've only sold 5. These 5 options you've sold help offset some of the bad time decay and stuff, but still you're paying some time decay, especially on these 2 options that aren't spread. They're owned outright. Okay. So, but that's fine. That's the cost of doing business. Because at the same time, if those 2 options, if something happens to market, let's say the market drops 15%, no matter when it drops, it doesn't matter if it drops tomorrow, or I should say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it drops 15% tomorrow. This portfolio, this option spread is up $200,000. Your portfolio will be down $150,000. This will be up $200,000. If it waits till the middle of the summer and drops 15%, this thing will be worth $229,000, or your portfolio will be down $150,000. And if it does it right at the end, it's actually the most profitable. If right at the end, it's worth a quarter million if you hold on that long. Which there's no reason not to, because if the market keeps dropping, you keep making more money. And if the market goes up, yeah, you're losing money, but you're remember, you're positive 30% on the year. So if the market goes down real quick and then shoots up real quick, yeah, you didn't cash in this bet. Yeah, you're out $15,000, but you had peace of mind. Maybe the portfolio is just down 5%. And, you're out 5% from being up 30. So you're only up 25, plus you spent 1.5 points. So you're only up 23.5, but you had a great summer and you weren't worried about anything. Being up 23.5% is a great problem to have. Okay. Additionally, if the drop hasn't happened, all the bad stuff I talked about hasn't happened by the end of September, you've only spent 1.5%. You can put this trade on again. Or if you just want to set it and forget it, even though there's some disadvantages to doing it this way, you can just do a trade till the end of the year and just not worry about it. So that's the $1 million baby New Year's baby edition, the $1 million New Year's baby. Now I'll have you guys notice I put this on yesterday, and it's down it's up $3,200 because the market's down right now, but the market's down like 1%. So $1 million portfolio that this is supposed to hedge is down about $10,000 today. Well, this is only up $3,000. Now, and that's not because it's a bad strategy. This needs a little bit of a bigger drops before it kicks in. Being down 1% isn't gonna. It's not gonna totally hedge against it. The market drops another 5% from here, the total insurance would kick in. I'm going to show you that in a second. But let's look at this New Year's Eve edition. Okay, so it's the same type thing. It's just an option spread. I'm going to spare you guys the detail. Is this December 31st? Same type thing. It's a 7x5 option spread, and there's some strategy to where I chose and stuff. But anyway, all we need to know is, okay, if something happens right away, that's the first thing I like to check. So if something happens like next week, because some strategies, it doesn't kick in. The insurance doesn't kick in right away. But, if something goes down 5% next week, yeah, it offsets. We would be down 50,000 in the portfolio. This would offset 37,000 of it. Not bad. The market goes down 10% next week, I think it'd do it though. By then the insurance kicks in. 10% would be 100,000 in the portfolio. This would offset most of it, 92,000. So if you had this position on, this would keep you from getting a margin call. Your overall position, it could keep you, would only be down 8,000. Whereas somebody that didn't have this hedge on would be down 100,000. All right. So if the market goes down next week to 15% down, 15% is totally offset because 150,000. And from here, it's pretty much one for one. And that's how it's designed. That's the way I designed it this way. If you guys have different needs in your own account, DM me and I can help you with it. These, you can design them specifically. If you just have $100,000 portfolio, we could do something similar with SPY. Anyway, it depends on your particulars, but these are some good ideas in my opinion. And once again, this is a long volatility trade. So we're going along, and if volatility pops, let's say the market goes down. Say, okay, time passes. We go out to October, but the market drops 10% in October. That happens all the time, right? Well, guess what's going to happen to vol? It's going to pop. It was at a 17 IV. It'll probably pop to like a 25 IV. Okay. So then all of a sudden, even if the market doesn't move anywhere, this trade's locked in a winner. The market has to move up before this trade loses. Anyway, there's all kinds of good things with being long volatility. And usually that happens when the market's dropping. Like I say, if the market drops 15% and that happens, boom, now this strategy is up 170,000 where our portfolio is only down 150,000. The difference is the convexity of this position. Convexity is a little bit of a tailwind. When you're long optionality, especially put options on an index, as indexes drop, you almost always get a boost from volatility. So you have positive exposure to the volatility. That's the tailwind. That's the convexity. If it gets really serious, let's say volatility doubles, then it drops 30% or something, God forbid, like it did during COVID. I mean, that's what this is designed for. Hedge funds do these types of strategies. That's where I figured it out from. All right. So it's, you would have extra convexity. And even though your portfolio would only be down 300,000, this position would be up 373,000. Okay. Now, this is the best thing about this position. And I didn't write a slide for it. I'm just going to try to describe it. Okay. So I told Jay the worst thing. I asked him a question about TRES. I said, you can only take a hedge off once or something. I said, and he kind of looked at me like, are you crazy? What I was trying to say is, once you put a hedge on, you buy a hedge before the volatility hits. After you've had the big move and volatility's doubled, and like in this case, and the market's moved down 30%, if I tried to take this off and reestablish, it would be crazy, stupid expensive because volatility's doubled and I'm paying the new higher price. And in fact, at this point, it's better to sell volatility, to probably do anyway. So that's what I meant. This strategy that I've designed, you don't have to make the decision. The market's down 30% like it was during COVID. That's fine. You don't have a margin call because your option positions are up 368,000. So you're actually, you're actually the $15,000 you spent on this option right now is working out nicely for you. It's offsetting all of the losses plus a little bit. You could cash it in. You could absolutely cash it in. But the disadvantage would be if you wanted to cash it in and reestablish, it would be too expensive. But also, if you cashed it in and you're like me, the market would keep dropping. The next day, the market would be down another 10 or 15%. All right. So if you don't cash it in and the market keeps dropping, the market goes down 40%, you're actually, this position's up nearly $500,000. So your convexity is really kicking in. Okay. But by the same token, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you want to take this capital gain, not to mention the capital gain. It's a big tax bill. Now, it's saving your ass, so it's fine. But that's the beauty about the strategy. You don't have to decide. As time is going by, then we get in here into November. It's the end of the year, and then things are looking all right. Then all the stuff I said about the election doesn't come to pass, and cooler heads prevail, and so volatility pops back down to where it was before. And the market's not, the market goes to only being down 10% from where we're at now. So the 40% move, it took 30% of it back. Okay. All right. All right. So here we are, November. So it's Thanksgiving. Okay. So our portfolio is down about 100,000 on the year. We have an extra 100,000 due to the options hedge. So do we cash it in at Thanksgiving? Maybe. I'd be scared too, because I'd be afraid that the market would drop after Thanksgiving. We could cash it in though, or we could just let time go by to Christmas. And what happens? Let's say the Santa rally hits. Okay, the Santa rally hits. Boom. So all your profits disappear. In fact, you're down $15,000. Okay. Well, but let's say the Santa rally really hits. So it goes to where we are now, and the Santa rally adds 10% to it. So we'll just add 10%. So the Santa rally takes us to 6. All right, I'm back. I don't know how much of that got lost or whatever. All right. Well, I really like that strategy, and hopefully not much of that got lost. We had a little brownout. The AC's been running all day. It's hot here in Texas, and we'll probably lose power soon. So I'm going to turn off these lights and edit this video together. Anyway, leave me comments if you have any. Tell me how you do it. Like I say, I know this isn't the best way. This is just a way, and it's just a way I spent about 20 minutes on this last night. This gave me all kinds of ideas for better things, but for now, I'm going to say this is fine. But let's go back. And all right. That's how long we need. Okay, so the caveats. The options expire. It could drop after our options expire. The September one, it could drop in October. The end of the year one, it could drop in, the next year. Probably will do that. That's the way it goes though. So but the thing you have to be with the September one, you have to be able to and willing to deploy more capital after September. I look at that as a two-step thing. You're going to use 1.5%, and then if nothing happens, redeploy between September and the end of the year. And it should equal about the same as the 3.5% doing it now. There's advantages and disadvantages. Hit me up in the messages if you guys want to talk about your own situation to doing it one way or the other. But yeah, well, and one of the things is if the cost of insurance doesn't go after the market, if the market drops like it's doing today, keeps dropping and doesn't come back, then yesterday would have been the best day to get in. And today would be a better day to get in on insurance than tomorrow. Now, there's always the hope that, that's not going to happen, but that's the chance you take. Now, the market is closer to historic highs than historic lows. Speaking of Jay and hedging, if you listen to his podcast, The Broken Pie Chart, where they talk about the book a lot, and they also talk about his partner, Derek Moore's book called The Broken Pie Chart. In any event, they featured those a bunch, and they're always talking about the cost of insurance being historically cheap right now. They talk about that almost every week. They've been saying that for months, and it has been. You could insure till the end of the year for 2 or 3% and totally lock out any losses, like I just showed you. All right, I never remember to say like, comment, and subscribe, but especially like. I guess the thumbs up really helps the algorithm or something. People tell me I need to ask for thumbs up more. But anyway, do your due diligence on this or any other strategy, of course. You know, fun and entertainment only and all that, all the usual caveats apply, but especially on something like this, and especially if you have more than $1 million. Let's say you have a $2 million or $4 million or a $10 million retirement, get a financial planner involved. They charge 1%. Get Jay involved. He's a financial planner, or choose one of your liking, and they'll do all this stuff for you. They'll put a thing together like I just did a thing on, but they'll do it just for your portfolio, and it's worth it. And then you can take your freaking $3 million retirement or whatever, and you can go hang out this summer and go on vacation and do whatever. You don't even have to look at your phone. You don't have to worry to mark it down 20%. It doesn't matter. In fact, you'd actually be in a little better position if the market dropped 20 or 30% due to the convexity from these options you bought. Now, you aren't rooting for that, but you're prepared. That's what it's all about. I have friends that are preppers, and sometimes I give them shit and I joke them, but I'm a financial prepper. This is financial prepping. Everybody should have something like this, or should talk to their financial planner and see if something like this makes sense for them. All right, that's my soapbox. I'll get off it. All right, guys, have a good one. I will talk to you later.